How's it going, guys? Rhino here, and I'm bringing you part 2 of reasonable responses or responses to moronic questions from SJWs. So let's get right into this.
Why is it that this feminist represents all feminists, but this men's rights activist doesn't represent all men's rights activists?
Whoa, wait, sexism all of a sudden? Ladies and men are different? So we're supposed to punch men and not hit ladies and open doors for men, but not ladies? Fuck you, get out of my face, you tiny piece of shit.
Neither of them are representative of the whole group that they're supposedly a part of, and do you actually know that the guy's an MRA? No, you don't, so you can't make that assumption. But even if he was, notice the two comparisons of what they're doing. One of them, the feminist Trigglypuff, is trying to censor people. The other guy is just being a dick. He's just being an asshole. One is a seriously bad thing, and the other one is just someone being an asshole. Now, as for representing everybody, they don't, and what they really represent is pretty much the stereotype of what a feminist is. Whenever you think of the stereotype of a feminist, Trigglypuff is all of those. And so that's why people make that joke. She's a meme. She's a joke. That's what she is. She doesn't represent feminism. She just is a part of feminism and makes the stereotype true, or at least part in her case, which is what we love to make fun of. Trigglypuff is an exact case of what we love to stereotype and make fun of about feminism, especially because she embodies all the worst parts of feminism too.
Why am I continually asked to answer for the views of feminists if I agree with feminism's overall aims, but don't agree much with those particular feminists? Does that mean that I can ask you to answer for anybody who labels themselves similarly to you, even if you don't agree much?
Here's the thing. You are a feminist. You are part of the feminist movement, so you don't necessarily agree with everyone who is a feminist, but that means you stand for feminism, and so do these people who have these same ideas as you. So if you disagree with them, then call them out for their bullshit, because that is the only thing you can do to help. Just ignoring these radicals who are creating a terrible name for feminism, which some of the people in this video you are making this with are part of that. They're making a bad name for feminism. Call them out. Speak out against their bullshit and destroy their arguments. I am an anti-feminist. Now, anti-feminism isn't a group. It's just an opposition to a group. But if someone like Bering were to come out and say that we should rape everyone, or we should rape all feminists or kill all feminists, I would come out against that unless he was making a joke. Jokes are okay. So I would come out, someone I disagree with, I would come out and say that their ideas are bad if they actually had bad ideas and were harmful and were causing harm to the opposition to a movement.
If SJWs are bad because they spend too much time whining and don't talk about real problems, then why aren't you talking about those problems instead of just whining about the other people over and over and over for literally years?
To answer this guy's unbelievably and unreasonably long question to ask one simple thing, the answer is simply, I'm not an activist. I realize there are problems with sentencing disparities between men and women, which feminism fails to recognize for some reason. And I'm not an activist, so I don't come out against that. I'm an egalitarian. I stand for equal rights, and that's it. I don't advocate equal rights. I don't go out and protest. I don't go out and make videos just full on just like proposing these ideas to fix these issues. Other people will do that, and that's perfectly fine. What I do is I attack bad ideas, which is what feminism is. I'm not complaining about them. I attack these ideas so that less people believe them. I've successfully convinced quite a few people that feminism is bad, typically from the camp where they're kind of on the fence, like in the middle, and they now lean towards the anti-feminist views because of how harmful feminism is. My mom is an anti-feminist now, thanks to me, thanks to the ideas that I've shown her about feminism, although she already had a bad taste about feminism in her mouth, but people like you are the reason why she tipped over.
Why don't you seem as concerned with actual feminist theory in academia as you are with wrecking people for views?
Oh, I am. It would have been my freshman year of college. I took a Writing 122 class, and in that Writing 122 class, my professor, who was a hardcore SJW, stated some very heavy and very damaging things like you can't be racist towards white people, you can't be sexist towards men, the wage gap is still real, shit like that. And she was teaching it to a writing class, not a gender studies class, a writing class. I came on and I immediately made a video about it. So I care about feminism in academia. I think it's terribly harmful how biased our school system is towards feminism and towards the far left wing. It's harmful, and I come out against it all the time. I attack people on here because they make videos, so it's a lot easier to attack. It's a lot harder to attack an article versus just a response video where I can cut it up and respond to it.
You do understand that reading the title of a book or an article or watching the first 15 seconds of a video is not going to give you a deep, nuanced understanding of what that book or article or video is about, right? That being said, how can you expect to understand or critique feminist sources if you don't even attempt to understand what they're trying to say?
You are definitely talking to the wrong person here, because I do all of that. I read articles all the way through. I watch videos all the way through. In fact, all my video responses, I'm going through the entire video. I don't cut shit out. I listen to the whole thing and I listen to their argument. But their arguments are incredibly flawed, biased, and oftentimes sexist towards men. That is why I come out and attack them.
Since so many of you profess to be admirers of second-wave feminism as opposed to third-wave feminism, I thought it would be interesting to ask which second-wave feminists in particular do you appreciate? Which books written by second-wave feminists have you read and found interesting? Which second-wave feminist activists have you specifically admired as you formed the opinion that you like second-wave feminism but you have no use for third-wave feminism? I'm just curious.
No, you're not curious, Steve. You're never going to watch any of these videos because they have differing opinions from you, and you're too fragile to handle that. But to answer your question, Christina Hoff Sommers. She is a second-wave feminist that I respect. Now, I think all feminist waves have had issues, and they've had bad people, but none of them have been as harmful as third-wave feminism. And I like how you add your own definition. To like a movement, you have to read books about it. Have you read books about LGBTQ? Because I haven't, but I still support LGBTQ rights. You are conflating two very different things between activism for a movement and just liking a movement. There are people who liked second wave feminism who hate third wave feminism. That doesn't mean they read anything about second wave feminism. And third wave feminism, the articles and the books that come out are just horseshit. They're full of lies and misleading information. So I'm not going to read any of that, and most people aren't either.
Why is trying and failing to debunk a study into sexual assault the #1 priority for a rational thinker now? Does it maybe say something about your priorities? Does it? Nah, it's fine, it's the feminazis, we have to stop them. They're taking away our video games. Look, Anita, I'm sorry, but we can't actually destroy video games. That doesn't make any sense.
You're right. Our priority should be to peddle false statistics about sexual assault, so we scare people on college campuses, telling them there's a 1 in 4 chance they're going to be raped or sexually assaulted, when that is nowhere near the case. The reason why we attack it is because not only is it an incorrect statistic, it's just a false statistic that shouldn't be peddled. It then leads to other false things being peddled as well, like rape culture, for example. Because oftentimes when you ask about rape culture, they point to the 1 in 4 statistic, but the 1 in 4 statistic is wrong, and then they point to rape culture. So it's almost like circular reasoning here. We attack things that have false statistics. Don't present false statistics, and we won't attack them. A logical thinker will attack anything that is an outright lie, and feminists know this is a lie, because they've been debunked thoroughly, all the way through numerous times.
One of the major arguments that I see in many of your videos is that it is possible to separate criticism of the religion of Islam from the actual Muslim people. And yet, this line seems to be crossed very often. I see things like raghead or camel fucker or other things like that in your comment sections. I see people taking very serious shots at Muslims in videos and hangouts, and they don't get called out. at least not that I can see. So my question is this: why should a person of conscience who is concerned about the Muslim people in their community not being harmed or mistreated, why should they believe that you're actually only attempting to look at the ideas and talk about the ideas if you ignore bigotry that's occurring right in front of you? And in that light, would you be willing to break bread and salt with moderate Muslim people on your videos, have hangouts, invite them to your channels, just in order to build some bridges there and to learn more about what they think and how they feel and what their experience has been, so that information and knowledge can be furthered?
All right, Islam is not a topic that I talk about much on my channel at all because it doesn't come up. So my opinion may be different from those who are in the same camp as me responding to this video. But quite simply, you can easily draw the line between attacking Islam and attacking Muslims. There's a huge difference between the two. I can't remember who it was, but someone was quoted saying, hating cancer does not mean I hate people who have cancer. It's the same thing with religion. Just because you hate Islam doesn't mean you hate Muslims. Just because you hate Christianity doesn't mean you hate Christians. I've made many videos talking about the problems with Christianity, but none of them was I attacking people being Christian. I wasn't attacking their right to be Christian. I was attacking their belief system, their religion. That's it. And as to your question about breaking bread, I mean, I would, but once again, I don't really talk about Islam on this channel. It's not something that I personally talk about. I prefer to stick to issues more related to like feminism and SJWs. And then the last thing that you said about calling out people who are racist or not racist, but what would that be? Islamophobic or Muslimophobic, because Islamophobic is different than Muslimophobic, in my personal opinion. The difference is we don't censor people. We don't call people out for that because it's their right to say it. It's free speech. And they're oftentimes making a joke. I mean, raghead, camel fucker, those are jokes. They're not honestly saying that all Muslims are ragheads or camel fuckers. And I don't even understand. I mean, camel fucker, I could see how that would be bad. But raghead, I don't really see how that's an insult to, because oftentimes they do wear rags on their heads. So I don't know.
Do you deny that systemic racism against black people is like a thing in general? If so, what? Okay, just step up, just cover your ears for a second and let the smart people talk. If not, why is it so much more important to you to demonize groups like Black Lives Matter than to actually use your platforms to discuss actual solutions to issues surrounding race and racism?
Please provide proof that systemic or systematic racism exists towards black people. Currently, there are affirmative action policies in place to help black people, so they're at a privilege. That's the only evidence that I see. So that's a privileged class, not an oppressed class. And the reason why we attack Black Lives Matter is because Black Lives Matter is incredibly harmful. I mean, just look at what the fuck they're doing. Anyone in their right mind, any logical thinker can say that Black Lives Matter is a harmful movement because not only of what they do in the streets, but also the ideas that they peddle. It's incredibly harmful to create an us versus them mentality, to say that white people are the problem, to say that cops are the problem. You're literally creating a race war almost. Black Lives Matter is not the answer to racism. Black Lives Matter has caused more racism problems and race relation problems than ever before.
If you've ever discussed or done a video about black-on-black crime, when are you going to do a video about white-on-white crime and what we, as white people, can do to solve the problems in our community?
As soon as there's a White Lives Matter movement that is ignoring the number one cause of white deaths. You're completely missing why we talk about black-on-black crime, and it's because Black lives supposedly matter. That's the name of the movement, but you're ignoring the number one way that black people are killed. So it's almost like Black Lives Matter unless they're killed by other black people. Then their lives don't matter because they're just going to be ignored. I saw this chart and it illustrates it perfectly. So basically what it is it's a chart it's a bar graph. And it has the ways that black people are killed. The most statistically probable ways that black people are killed. And it compares black on black crime compared to cops killing black people. And the bar is, you can't even really see the bar at all. for cops killing black people, and then the bar that is black people killing black people is fucking huge. It takes up the entire graph. It's the biggest way that black people are killed, but completely ignored by Black Lives Matter. That is why we attack it.
Why is a literal teenager's different definition of racism from you so horrifying that you all have to go, no! No, we have to stop him! We've got to debunk him now! Ah!
I'll repeat. We attack bad ideas. The idea that every white person is racist, that every male is misogynistic, and that every cisgender person is transphobic is unbelievably harmful. And those are ideas that need to just be squashed before they can get any sort of growth. Because, I mean, the way the social justice movement is, someone could easily buy into that shit. And people have. We attack these ideas because they're harmful ideas that need to be squashed. Now, Milo is mainly a joke nowadays because she is a transgender who's using her hate to try to get attention, and just she's a bad example of good SJW arguments, but she's a good example of bad SJW arguments, essentially, because she brings forth these terrible ideas and needs to be attacked. It needs to be debunked. And I've personally done videos. I've done 2 videos on her, I think it is, and it's just scary what she says. You need to attack bad ideas, and that is what we do. It doesn't matter her age. Why are you being ageist? What does it matter that a teenager said this? What is it, the difference between that and like a 50-year-old? Oh, well, that's right. You can discriminate. The feminists and SJWs can discriminate perfectly fine, but we can't. Or society can't, even though society doesn't really discriminate. But still, that's about it for this video, guys. That is part 2. Part 3 will hopefully be coming out in the next couple weeks because I still want to spend more time on these videos. It takes a while to edit. It takes a while to get them together. It takes a while to render them even. And so, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to comment, rate, and subscribe. And as always, have a nice day.